Okay, so we're going to start scrolling through. So our virtual design presentation. We're going to cover 4 main things. So one is some key factors for selling remotely. This is just a bit over above and beyond if you took the first webinar. And then moving into doing a short live remote presentation where we can cover some key things to share in your presentation, how to take notes, interaction with the client, a few other layers we've added above OneNote. Then once we've done that, we're going to go how we did it. So we'll kind of pull away behind the scenes how we did notes, how we made it look kind of as easy and simple as it is. And then last, how to do your summary and next steps. So this was what really sold me on OneNote when we get into it, is once you're done, what it does for you in terms of collecting the information you've just taken with the client will save you so much time. Was really amazing. So this I love. If we have any Finding Nemo fans in the house, is kind of all of us right now, just in our own little bubble. No one really knows what's going on, but we're all kind of just like, okay, here we are staring at each other. Some of these guys look a little more happy than others, maybe, but so I just felt like it was a great visual representation, and to remember that we're all kind of feeling this way and a little unsure in our bubbles. So just keeping that in mind, moving into trying to keep projects going, keep your sales process going in how we're living now. So I do have a question either on mic or chat. How much times more likely do you think you are to get a response that's positive? Say if you write an email, send a package of drawings versus doing them face-to-face. Do you think you're twice as likely to sell, 3 times, 5, 10, 100?
So let's see your guesses in the chats. And twice as likely for Eleanor. The one that's closest does get a point. And we do have a contest at the end of this webinar. If you have the most points, you get a virtual tap in the back. So,
I was going to say, I'm like, should I send them all my Cabico notebooks I've left over? But no, we don't need them.
Exactly. So we do have 3 times as likely from Lynn, 5 times from Nancy, as likely for Tammy.
Okay. So this was super interesting because they did this study and they also had people do exactly what we're doing now, guess. So people actually guessed you were more likely to get a positive response over email. However, the study actually showed that face-to-face, you were 34 times, can't give away my surprise. You're 34 times more successful doing a face-to-face interaction than over email. So for every 200 emails, you would have to send that 6 in-person meetings, just to put that in perspective. So definitely that's why we say have your camera on trying to work this way. Do meetings over Zoom, over Skype, keep in touch over video. If you guys did take our best practices webinar previously in Digital Human Touch, Steph had an amazing example about nonverbal communication and how 55% of communication is actually nonverbal in an emotional context. So that definitely all ties in, and I found that amazing to actually read that study. It's from Harvard Business Review. You'll get a copy of this at the end, so if you want to read more about it, it is pretty interesting. So then next point after that, what we mean by this by Steven Spielberg is your own director. Make sure your background is tidy, make sure your desktop is tidy, use the pause feature when you're sharing your screen. What you want to do with this is to just have as little distractions as possible. So keep a tidy background. You can add a background if you want, but the less distractions, the more focused you're going to be, that your client's going to be really engaged in what you're saying and the topic you're working on. So,
and if you do a video call, make sure there's plenty of light in the room where you're at, so that they can actually see you well.
I have an exceptionally boring background, so you should be listening to every word I say. Okay, and then camera on, which we'd already discussed, like how much more impact that is going to have on getting a positive response. And then lastly, just to be yourself. It is still awkward. We've been doing webinars for 6 or 7 weeks. It does slowly get better to not feel like you're just talking to yourself, but that's also where the video on really helps. if you are walking your clients through this, setting this up, you can let them know, make sure they're comfortable with being on video, let them know you will be, and you can share your screen, you can interact, whether you're doing it on Zoom, FaceTime, however you want, just to keep that interaction and to be yourself as much as possible, keep it light. Okay.
And one important thing in there, Kitty, if I may, is that people are actually buying you probably as much or even more than the cabinets. So it's about how your talent as a designer, your ideas are showcased. So we can do a lot of that through the virtual medium of showcasing your talent and your passion also through that video chat as a second best for as a substitution from face-to-face. In all truth too, I think going forward, once things get back to normal, this becomes an additional tool. Of course, I would always prefer to be able to meet my client either in my showroom or go to their location, but sometimes it might be also very time consuming for the client to make a 45-minute drive for a 20-minute consultation. So in the future, after a first or second meeting, we could use the virtual tools that we have to do virtual meetings and keep the client closer to us throughout the whole process of them making the decisions and getting their dream kitchen.
That's awesome. Thank you, Steph. And you make such a good point there too, because as you were saying that, I was thinking about if I was to receive just a PDF package of drawings versus have someone personally walk me through it, explain why they chose what they did, and really give that extra level of service would make all the difference. So I accidentally clicked on this slide before. I would just like to start by saying, I don't think I'm the Michael Jordan of design, but I am coming out of retirement for this only. Yesterday, someone actually misheard. They were like, did you say you were the Michael Jordan of reps and not designers? So I was like, okay, well, maybe. So I'm just going to.
Ouch. There's a few reps on here, so.
Yeah, but that's not what I was saying. Definitely not. Who was the little guy who was on with him? He was on the Bulls, Michael Jordan. Anyway.
I don't know.
Jess,
I don't know.
You're my
I don't watch basketball, Greg.
Same year.
Greg's like the sports aficionado.
The little guy? I hope you're not talking about Scottie Pippen.
No, not Scottie Pippen. There was like the bald-headed guy.
I don't know. I'll think of it. I'll get back to you.
He was on Space Jam.
So what she means by that is because she used to be a designer, she had to put back again her designer hat and shoes and walk the designer path to present to me the tools that we'll use today.
It's probably more like when he's just started playing baseball for no reason and then see how that went. Okay, so we're gonna go into OneNote here. So we'll start as if we are doing a design presentation. So me and my client Steph, and I can log on with him on Zoom, do intros, all of that good stuff. I definitely recommend when you are doing your screen sharing, if you're going back and forth, use that pause function because it just makes things a lot more fluid from their end. Again, a lot less distractions. So when you do open OneNote, when you first go into your tabs, you'll have your pages all along the right-hand side, and you can do full screen just by clicking on here. And if you need to access to do any notes, any drawings, you just click on the bar on the top and it'll pull down all your tools, but it just makes things a little bit cleaner. You can zoom in. Hold on. If I make that bigger, you can zoom in, but anyhow. Okay, so we will get started. We added this since Tuesday, and by we, I mean Jessica made this and emailed it to me, and then I just dragged and dropped it into here. So thank you, Jessica.
Teamwork.
So she created this mood board off of our selections. And Steph, so if you don't mind, I'll get you to grab your samples. Did you receive those all? They look good?
Oh yes, they're very cool. Like the pure white is marvelous. The bronze on walnut is superb. And I love the dune too, that are part of the colors that you've talked and showed me before that we've selected when we initially met.
Perfect. So we just put this all together for you to see your cabinetry colors and accents along with your selected countertops, flooring, and your hardware on here as well. Let's just give an overall mood. So what do you think of seeing this and then the samples you have in hand?
I like them a lot. I like the low sheen on the white. Gives a nice impression, not too bright, not too aggressive, and I do like how it contrasts well with the walnut because you've. I want to put it on camera here. I know that you've put some walnut, some of the backing that I wanted on the wall, and that white just pops when you see it with the walnut.
Okay, perfect. So I'm glad you like that, and then you can use that sample for your finishing contractor for them to color match those walnut slats to that sample.
And I know you sent me something called low sheen. Is this the lowest sheen that you have, or is there even lower sheen than this?
That is the lowest sheen we have. So I wouldn't recommend going too much lower than that, but it'll still give you a nice matte finish on the paint.
Okay.
Okay. So now.
And is that the same sheen on? Am I doing a good client? Is that the same?
Yeah.
sheen?
No. These are
good.
exactly the questions you'd get. So what you have in your hand there is a 25-degree sheen, and we're actually going to do it as a 10, the same as the paint.
I'm sorry?
So that's a very good question. So the one you have in your hand is a 25 on the wood, and the paint is a 10. We're going to match the walnut sheen to the paint. So we'll do them both at a low sheen.
Ah, okay, cool. Because this one reflects a lot more light.
Too shiny?
Yeah.
Okay. Perfect.
Cool.
Happy with that?
Yes.
Good.
For now.
Okay, you can change your mind at any time until it's ordered. Okay. So here's your kitchen. Let me blow this up for you. And to show where your color blocks are, you've got the walnut accent in the entertainment area, on the slat wall behind the bar, and the white lacquer in the main portion of the kitchen, and your dune in the bar/coffee bar.
That's pretty amazing what you did with the space there. I love the hut, above the stove. I love how there's a little piece of accent of walnut with our main white and dune colors, so it's pretty cool. One thing you forgot though, I don't see my cat. One of the things I was wondering though, is it possible to add a little bit more of that walnut in the cabinetry so that we have a little bit more of that accent color and wood accent?
Yeah, absolutely. Are you thinking you want to add quite a bit of it, just a touch?
Just a touch. I just wanted to have a little bit more of that walnut in there because you've reused it from the living room space where I have the TV stand. In that my back wall where my two coolers are, but maybe on the island somewhere, can you do a little bit more walnut there?
Yeah, I think a really nice balance kind of between the horizontal line you have in the living room, a little vertical break in that dining. You could pull it in a horizontal grain inside your open shelf. Okay, so just to pause so everyone sees what I'm doing, you can go under what I did was from full screen, click on the bar on the top, and then you can go under draw. You have pens, pencils, highlighters, all kinds of things here. So if I want to take a pen, and then I'm saying, oh great, we can do a horizontal grain, so go this way across the front, you could have that bronze walnut in a nice linear box in the open shelf. What do you think about having an added pop in like that?
Would love that. So think of OneNote really as a smart notebook in which you put pictures in there, and you can write over them, you can take notes over them. And so it's a great tool to also present and modify the information. Don't worry, this is all covered in the OneNote webinar also that we do in depth, so you can know how to do all of this. Now, I think, Kaylee, you don't actually have a proper mouse with you anymore. Yours broke down.
I do now. I went and got one because you told me to.
Okay, you click on Control and mouse wheel forward. There we go. So you can really easily zoom in, zoom out. So this works. Yeah. I'm more amazed and impressed now that I see my kitchen a little bit more.
Get real zoomed in. See, now we can't say I'm tech savvy because you're showing me how to sing.
That's perfect. So I've noticed too that I only have one drawer warmer under one of my two stoves. Is it possible to get a second one there? We've thought about it again, and I think I really want to have a second warmer instead of, there's already enough storage space, I think, in there.
Yeah, absolutely. So oops. You can do this in full version if you want to. I'm just going to keep this to-do list tab open so you can see what I'm doing. But it is quite simple. You just double click and it'll give you a little cursor, and then I can write, oops, second warming drawer, hit Control-1, and it'll give you a to-do list item. So you can leave that right over the actual spot it's on. You can put it in the corner of the page. I'm going to share these drawings with Steph, so I'm going to keep it close, but maybe out of the visual. This is something I changed in my method since Tuesday. So I know where the second warming drawer is going. You can also put in a little arrow if you want to be more specific, but maybe keep your notes out of the way. Oops. Like so.
You might want to zoom in just a tad because it's a little small on my screen. There we go.
Oh, sorry about that. Okay, so there you go. Second warming drawer. You can put this literally right over the drawer if you want here. With all my free time, I've been watching a lot of baking shows on Netflix, and I think everyone needs 2 ovens and 2 warming drawers. Absolutely essential.
I agree.
Oh, also essential,
Wine
2
coolers.
bar fridges. Okay. Yes, definitely we can pop in another warming drawer. That'll give you really nice symmetry. Get that vertical line of the walnut going inside the island there. Is there anything else that really pops out to you, or how are you feeling about this overall?
I'm just picking off comments off the Zoom chat when I said there's enough storage space. Tammy caught me. Clients think there's never enough storage space. And Greg and Sean are debating on who the small bald guy is, either John Paxson or Horace Grant.
Horace Grant.
And Sean says, no, it's Ron Harper. So the debate rages on.
I looked them all up. I'm not sure.
We'll do it after. We'll send it in the follow-up.
So other than these mods, I think it would be perfect. So just the walnut in that open shelf with, like you're suggesting, horizontal grain, I think would work really good in that second drawer, warming drawer. The rest looks wonderful.
Okay, awesome. I think you're really gonna love working in this. It's truly like a chef's kitchen. Your double ovens, cooktop, huge prep space with the bar on the side for entertaining. This will be awesome. I mean, and it looks amazing, but it'll be super functional too. So then let's get a little bit more into the kind of nitty gritty of it. It looks great, but obviously we want it to function for you, to work really well for both of you since you like to cook at the same time. We've got over here, we talked about doing some more low storage. So the pegboard with the screw and pegs, you can put your bowls, your everyday plates, bowls, cups right next to the dishwasher. Keep those in an everyday access place. So we're talking about doing those in the mid and bottom drawer. And then just to, I'm gonna pause my screen and open up the details on those just to refresh your memory.
Yeah, because I remember being excited about the pegs, but I can't remember the wood or other material.
So just so everyone knows what I'm doing, I've paused my screen. I'm gonna open Spectrum. As you know, most of these options have a list price in them. So I'm going to, once I have this open, I'm gonna unpause the screen and show you how I'm putting this into OneNote without actually showing the pricing.
So to pause your screen, it's as simple as going back on the share button in Zoom. If you use Zoom or other software, also have pause buttons. So that freezes the screen on the last thing. The client doesn't see your computer or details that you don't want them to see.
Yeah, exactly. So I've got this plate rec insert open. If I don't want to show list price for whatever reason, you can share your screen and walk through Spectrum if you want. If you don't, all you do is pause your screen, open whatever page you want in Spectrum, go back into your OneNote, and then all you're going to do here is hit Insert, screen clipping, and then this will open whatever page you had last open. So because I just clicked on Spectrum, right now my screen is still paused as far as the client knows, and I can just hit screen clipping. I'm gonna go like this, putting the code in, the plate rack in, and it'll snip right into your drawing. So I've snipped that in. Oh.
It's like the snipping tool that's in Windows, but you don't have to open it, save it, copy paste it. You can do it live with a client. It takes less than 3 seconds, and you're pretty good. So that's a couple of things that OneNote can do, and we'll go in depth into how to do that on the other webinar also.
Yeah. So to pop this in here with the code, because then they're going to see, I like to use codes on my drawings for my to-do list and to just keep things simple. If I had to write in that red font, you know, plate rack insert top and bottom drawer, it would get pretty messy. So I can open this and show, okay, so now we're unpausing. I've shared my screen again with the client, and I can show a picture like, hey, Steph, this is the visual of the one that we were looking at. So you've got 12 6-inch dowels. So these fit in the bottom deep drawers, and then we'll have your cutlery and utensil inserted in the top for everything day to day, right next to the dishwasher and sink.
And it's all wood, so I see that it's natural finish plywood, so that's awesome.
Yeah.
I'm just,
and then
worried that'd be flimsy plastic.
I don't think this one comes in plastic, but this will match the inside of your drawers as well, the hardwood drawers. So it's not exactly the same, but it'll be the same wood tone.
Okay.
Okay, so we'll do 2 of these. So just so you know the gibberish I'm writing on your layout, OP76 is just the number, OP meaning option, number 76. So we'll just pop back into your drawings. And then I'm going to double click. What is it again? 76, 75?
76.
76.
75 is the plastic one. I don't know.
I said, I'm in retirement, you guys, okay? It's been a minute. So I'm going to go OP76 times 2. And just so you know, this is not the standard configuration for a to-do list. I have mine set as red with white just to tie in with branding. You can select the shade, you can select the color. I will, Steph, should I walk through that now or at the end? What do you think?
Let's keep it for the end.
Okay. Keep the suspense alive for everyone how I did that. So we'll do 2 peg boards in the bottom here. And then we had talked about doing a waste bin to the right of the sink.
Yes.
Really easy. I know you're both right-handed. You can slide that open, do a scrape, rinse right in the dishwasher for your cleanup zone over here.
And you said you had those waste bins with the almost no drawer on the side or no side to that drawer. Did you call that like it's not the full, right? You know, with the bins inserted in it, you can see the side of the bins.
So these are, oh, you mean the ones with the shelf support at the bottom, more like these ones?
That's it.
Okay, there are.
OP0 is like open sides, and then the OP108 is with the full sides, right?
Right. So these ones are with the Legger box. So you can definitely do these. They just won't match the rest of your drawer boxes in the kitchen. You can do a similar one just with a slightly higher side in the wood. There's also a couple metal options. This one also has a wood top, but it has the higher shelf.
What do you think would work best in my kitchen?
To me, it wouldn't bother me if this doesn't match my drawers, but that's completely up to you. I would choose the one that you think will function the best.
Yeah, let's go for the one with the wood top.
Okay.
The 2 bins.
Well, and the bins match the bottom, so it still works. Okay, so I'm gonna pause my share again, open this up. Oh, I'm not telling you that, sorry, I'm telling everybody else that because, okay, here's the other thing. We all know, I'm gonna unshare. We all know if a client sees this, $1,500 for a waste bin as a one item thing, not thinking of that as list, they're gonna freak out. So I don't like to do that. I just put it in. If we need to break it out, that's fine. If anyone else wants to share their experience on that, I'm more than happy to hear it for sure. That's just kind of what I found worked for me. So I'm going to go back into OneNote. This one's called, so screen clipping. Okay, so if I put this in here, I'm going to go back into draw because I have a highlighter option. And
You're
we're
still on
doing,
pause, by the way.
oh,
You did pause your screen.
thank you for the reminder. So I snipped this back into OneNote, and then I can go back into draw, use my highlighter tool, and then depending on the option that you want. So we're going to do the 235 quart bins.
Yes, please.
So I can just highlight this. It's my OP 108. So I can go back into my renderings here. Type, double click, Control 1. Easy. Okay, so now we've got your, oh, you know what? We did mention your cutlery tray in the top too, but I didn't put the code in for that one. So gonna pop back into Spectrum. Again, I'm totally comfortable sharing this whole screen because there's no pricing at all. So Steph, we had talked about popping a couple inserts in there. I know you didn't want the plastic. We're looking at doing some wood inserts.
Yes, please.
Okay, perfect. And then half cutlery, half utensil, right?
Yep.
Perfect. So we're going to use the utensil tray in the box, and then we're going to use, sorry, the cutlery tray with smaller dividers, the OP10 with the OP09, so we can trim them to both fit in the drawer.
Okay.
Talking to myself.
So that would be in my top drawer, the larger ones.
Yep, right here. Do you have a preference of utensils or cutlery on the left or right? You can move these around too.
Did you pause your screen? Because I'm still seeing the spectrum.
Yep.
Okay. Perfect.
Okay. So if everything looks good over here, I mean, it looks amazing. We'll make sure we've got all those inserts so it functions how you want it. Is there anything else you want to cover on this section, the bar and the sink wall?
No, that's pretty much it.
Okay. Perfect. And then in this area, looking at it, we're going to add the double warming drawer, have the nice horizontal grain in this open shelf. And other than that, the look's going to be the same.
Exactly.
Okay, perfect. Now the front face of the island. So it's mostly unseen, but this is probably the most important area to be super functional. I know the two of you love to cook together, so we'll try to keep it a place of happiness where you can both function and not be all over each other and working on top of each other. So we purposefully put this cooktop on the right side. So we've got one prep zone on the left and a cook zone right next to the cooktop. Just so you know, this one here, this top drawer under, this is going to be voided, this one here, just to accommodate the mechanical under the cooktop, and then the below drawers are fully functioning. Oh.
You know, I told you about my special set of cooking knives?
Yes.
I wondered if you had anything for me to be able to put those knives in and keep them tidy and not banging against each other.
I did, and that's super important to know. I'm glad you brought that up. What kind of knives do you have?
Ginsu.
Oh. Mine are so dull because I've been trapped in my house for almost 2 months now, and I need to get them sharpened. So I also don't know how to do it myself.
Well, here there's a guy that actually passes in the street and with the little truck and the bell, and you can run out with your knives and scissors. Still happens.
Nice.
True story, by the way.
Are you serious?
I am serious.
That sounds very dangerous. Okay, so
I like to keep him on his good. I like to be on his good side.
yeah, no kidding. That's actually amazing. I wish I had that. I'd be chasing him down the street. Okay, so we're going to do another screen clipping. So now that you can see fully what I'm doing, you can pause the screen if you're doing this with a client and you don't want them to see what you're doing. Oh, sorry. So insert screen clipping. I'm going to put in.
You pause it again.
I did.
Yeah.
Guys.
Because we're not seeing anything you're doing. There we go.
I just started doing this after our one on Tuesday, so obviously I've not mastered it yet. So please bear with me. I'm so sorry. Steph, thank you for the reminder. So we've got 2 knife blocks that we were looking at. There's one that sits right in the drawer. You've got 2 sizes. For yours, having the space with those bigger handles, I would suggest doing the larger one.
Yeah,
But there's also, oh, sorry.
Yeah, definitely the larger one. Yeah.
Okay. And then there is a level 2 super version of this that actually has a cutting board on the top that you can pull out and use as a charcuterie tray or something like that. If you prefer something like that.
Could it be done in walnut?
I actually don't know. It comes in maple right now. That would match your drawers for one cohesive look.
Yeah, I love it. I love the fact that I have a hidden cutting board. That's super cool.
Okay, cool. So we're going to go back into OneNote. We're going to screen clip because we want this one. And it's more expensive. Yay. Okay.
Now we see you do it. Excellent.
Yeah. Thank you. It only took, what, 4 or 5 accessories? 3.
Well, it's a good thing to do if you have an actual client, to pause more than not. So it's good reflex.
All right. So going back into our kitchen renderings, what I was thinking for you, but let me know how you feel about this, since we have on the left as your first prep zone, I was thinking about doing the knife and charcuterie tray directly to your right for your tools. You can have your knives directly at hand to pull up there, and then have the rest of your utensils right here. But does one way or the other make more sense to you?
I think it's best in the middle, so I can access it, and my wife too.
So this is the OP41. For everyone who has these codes a lot more memorized than I do, this will be a lot smoother for you. Okay, so we're going to put the OP41 knife tray. Again, just kind of pause. If Steph and I were going through this in as much detail and care as you normally would, we could spend half an hour talking just about inserts on the island. So we'll do those few and then kind of get into the next portion, just so I don't bore you to death.
Before we do that, anybody has any questions on what they've seen up to now? Inquiries, reactions? Like, you like this, or you like, no, this is the worst software ever? I like a good challenge.
I think everybody loves it.
Good. Excellent. Okay.
Okay, perfect. So then what I've set up on the side, I have kitchen renderings. Oh, we have a chat.
Oh, Lynn says, I like this, but I think I will need to practice a lot to use effectively. You need, you're entirely right, Lynn. You need to practice it. The key is that you don't need to practice a lot. That's the fun thing. It's really easy to use once you know how to do all these manipulations. So Kaylee has exactly, I think, 3 days of practice with this software, and she makes it look super simple. So it will be easy for you to get. I guarantee that. Otherwise, I'll reimburse you this webinar.
It is, I can tell you from using it for less than a week, really 3 days total. It is pretty intuitive. It's pretty easy to use. And if you're kind of feeling like you want to practice more, I would play around with it and definitely sign up for Steph's webinar, because again, he taught me everything I know, kind of the key things to know to apply to using it in this industry and for this purpose. So that was super helpful. There's way more to it than even we get into here. So I would definitely take that webinar. So I did also include our layouts. So these aren't very fun and exciting. If everything looks good on here, we don't really need to walk through these. We can use these later for countertop dimensions and everything like that. And what we did here, so as you can see for everyone behind the scenes, because we've shared this file, Steph was in here. He must have done this on his webinar, because now we're going to see, you can hyperlink everything right into the document. Of course, if you're using Word or anything like that, you can make a hyperlink, put in the title, but it is quite simple.
It is not the right oven for that kitchen, but that's an example I used.
So you can't have this oven, I'm sorry, just say goodbye. Okay, so we're gonna go back in. We also put in behind the kitchen, there's actually a butler's pantry. So as if they'd said to you, like, yeah, these are my appliances, you can hyperlink right to the pages. So then if something comes up where you're looking up cutout sizes, or they just want to, I don't know if everyone else has the same experience I did, but people tend to change their appliances. So if you're going through and they're like, oh no, I don't think that's the one, you can literally open the model, make sure they see it, and they're, oh, actually, I'm using this one now. If you're using Zoom, they can just send you the link in your chat. You can put it right in your OneNote, and delete the old one or write the dates of which ones they are. It's pretty simple. So you can, how to put in a link.
So as Kaylee's will walk you through this, you kind of get the sense that we use OneNote as kind of the project management piece that we can showcase and then work off of as a to-do and a reminder, all tidy in one place. So it's a great way to centralize information for your client, because you'll see on top of the linking, printing to doing screen clippings, we can actually put documents in there too. So there's a lot of flexibility to have everything in one place, so you look in one spot to find everything.
So I have my screen paused right now because I'm on the Melee website looking for something that looks like our picture. I'm not going to spend any more time doing this then. So guys, this is a gas cooktop. I'm sorry. It doesn't match either. But okay, we'll resume sharing. So here we go. Oh, Cam, just like me. Perfect. So here is our cooktop. We can take this, just copy the link. Oops.
It's fine. You copied it still.
It worked. Okay.
Oh yeah. You cut instead of copy.
And then we are going to click link here under insert. Can put text. So I'm just going to put cooktop. Oh no, it didn't work.
Oh, it didn't. I'm sorry.
Okay, so we'll just copy, pop back in here, paste, done. So now I have the cooktop link to the appliance. You can snip these from the pages too. I like to have these here just so you always have live information. That way too, if you're going back and anything is updated on that model number or anything like that, you can select it from anywhere. Or if you're on site and you're opening this through the app, you can click on your cooktop link, open it up, because you might need more information, or if someone wants more detail on a cutout, it's all live. Depending how far you want to take this program, to me, it makes total sense to add a page and have your final layouts on it for your markout notes or your measure notes. And you can have, if you're measuring yourself or having someone else measure, you can give them access to your OneNote. That way they can open up your appliance specs if they have questions. They can open up your layouts and renderings to get a full idea of what's going on. And then they can live update the measurements. You can refresh it in your notebook, and you can start working on changes before they're even back at the office. So there's quite a bit of tools in here that will really make you work more efficiently. And to do that, super simple. You just click up here, add a page. You could have one called Site Measure, and then you would just share your notebook. Which Steph will get more into that too. I don't want to give away too much of what he has, but he'll teach you more of that. So
now, Kaylee, as a client, and let me know if this question is too soon, if you wanted to answer that later. But as a client, I might go, hey, I love those renderings and the mood boards. Is that something you can send to me?
Yes. Yep. So we're going to do that exactly in the next section. But if someone asks, can I have these? For me as a designer, I definitely like to work on a trust, work on the relationship. And that's what I found was the best way to really get people open up the best. I mean, no one's going to close 100% of the time. And if you do, we want you to host a webinar because we want to know how you're doing it. But that's just what I found was to kind of take the first step in trusting them. You can share, I would share renderings, layouts, and elevations, not so much, because if it's less exciting to me, you want to keep them engaged and excited, like here it is. To me, if they were like, oh, can I actually have exactly the dimensions and this and that, that's kind of usually a sign that they're using it to shop around. So I would just share renderings, but again, everyone's going to have their own method. So do what feels best for you, but I would definitely encourage that. Okay.
So Eleanor is asking, can you hide a page, a shared workbook, so the client can't access it? For example, site measures. Actually,
Yeah.
Katie will choose which page she wants to send to me. So she can very, precisely choose to send just a mood board and just the kitchen renderings.
Yeah, that's a very good question though, because if you're wanting to use this as a project management tool, you can pick and choose what you want to send. And it's pretty easy. This actually came up previously, and Jessica made a good point that it is easier to add a wrong attachment to an email than it is to share the wrong attachment in here, or maybe similar, but it's pretty easy to keep it secure in here.
Now, I don't know if that answers your question, Eleanor, if you were talking maybe to hide stuff from other colleagues, or is it from clients?
I guess what I'm asking too is if you do want to share the whole workbook and you just have one page you don't want them to see, is there a way to turn that page off?
There's a way to actually lock a page with a passcode that you need to have to be able to open. So let's say you work with different people, but you have some sensitive information. You could password protect a page, a section, whatever you like.
How do you do that?
It's been a while. Go into review, or I'm not sure yet, password. Now, the only thing is, if you set a password, you better remember it. There is no way to recover this password. And I've learned through experience.
Oh, okay, so you can. The one other way that, because this was exactly my thought. Okay, if I was doing this, presenting it, and I'm clicking through tabs, whatever going on, and you accidentally click on a page that has, say, so I have the item list, for example, which has no pricing on it. If you had your full CDPS quote in here and you accidentally clicked on it and they're like, oh, wait, what was that? And you don't want to be like, oh, that's just my cost on everything. So what you can do is link files into your folder. So you could also call this something more discreet. If you didn't want to say like pricing, you could call it something else. And then if you click over it, it doesn't really look like anything. So then you can just click on this link and it'll open up in your folder separately. You can also connect straight to Word documents, other documents if you don't want them snipped, or you want to live change them in Word, it will update in here. So for example, I put the quote letter as an attachment, and this will open directly in Word.
And the cool thing, if ever Kaylee makes modifications to that document, it will store it right on this page of OneNote. So you update documents, it saves. And then you can send that out, you can copy it, you can do whatever you want. You're just keeping everything in one nice spot, tidy.
So I can see Steph was on my file. What were you doing in there?
I was using it as an example. That's the other thing too, when you do have a shared OneNote among the team at work, it's another cool thing because I could take notes. I can help out Kaylee on the same notepad as if we had the same notebook that we would share amongst another, and it tracks everything. So Kaylee knows if I've touched anything in hers and vice versa. And she could even see at what time and what modifications I did. We won't go into that level of detail, but it is available.
Yeah. So if you're working with a team too, it's great because you can see if you are waiting for a site measure or something like that, you can see when they've been in it to update it. And it makes it really easy. So this is an example of a link from our group shared folder. So because these blueprints are huge, they're like 40 something pages, to print into OneNote was taking so long that I just put the link in. So you can link it and then I can open the blueprints separately. You can open in PDF, it's actually easier to open this. This is just my setting to have it in a web page. So yeah, that's one other trick there. And then I would say doing those links, the Word links, screen clips, you can print directly into OneNote. So if someone emails you whatever it may be, a set of drawings, blueprints, say they're smaller and you want to print into OneNote, again on Steph's webinar, he walks through how easy this is, but you can print it as a page into OneNote directly from your email. So you don't have to save it into a separate folder, open it into a presentation platform. It saves that whole step for every document. And then what we're going to get into next, we'll start the next section shortly, is how to take what you have here and select what you're going to send. So
So just to illustrate what Kaylee was doing, if you want to click back, Kaylee, please, on kitchen renderings
Mm-hmm.
in your presentation, because you explained it well.
Okay.
And you see those pictures, that's a printout. So that's Kaylee opening the PDF and printing it to OneNote. So that's where I do that, is to actually be able to annotate, sketch over. So you can drop the documents in if it's just to modify, but if it's something you want to present, annotate, you print to OneNote. And you'll see it's as simple as switching your regular printer when you actually print a document. You didn't know that, but there's already one called OneNote. Unless you don't use any Microsoft product, you might not have it. But as soon as you have an Excel, PowerPoint, Microsoft product, there is a printer called OneNote. And if you download that link I gave you, OneNote 2, that will install the printer automatically at the same time.
Yep.
So
Oh, go ahead.
I'm eager for the next steps. Sending you the super nice package.
Yes. So with the print thing, I didn't even know that existed. And then Steph was watching me. He's like, "Why are you saving this and then opening it in here?" And I know as soon as he says that, I'm like, "Okay, tell me the trick." There's always some kind of trick, and he knows them all. So that alone, just building this presentation saved quite a bit of time. And then you don't have to worry about, again, pulling the out-of-date appliance specs or maybe a different version of your drawings into your presentation. It's direct, it's up to date, it's really concise and easy. Okay, so summary, next steps. So we're going to talk about scheduling your next appointment, emailing the meeting minutes, or for what that means for me is the renderings, and then how to create your tag summary for your next steps. So how we do that, obviously you guys know how to schedule an appointment. Once you've gone through your whole meeting, just to say, okay, Steph, I think this is going to take me 2 to 3 days. So let's get together on, do you have time on Tuesday morning next week? And then you can schedule that in, do your Zoom link, send him the meeting request right away. So it's in the calendar. Then over the weekend, you're going to send him the drawings now. He's going to have time to share those with their friends and family, to stay excited about it. It's enough time to keep them engaged. So schedule the appointment at the end of this and then let them know, okay, I'm going to send you the drawings. So for me, I would want to schedule it, like thanks and the call, and then you can send them as a follow-up and say, looking forward to talking to you on Tuesday, anything like that. You could also put the meeting link in that email and attach the drawings. You can also let them know whether you want to put this in the email or to talk about it on the meeting, that they're more than welcome to share the drawings. And depending on how you like to market yourself, for me, I would use these drawings as a marketing tool as well, to say to them, like, are you comfortable if we share these on our Facebook, or just let them know you're going to share them? Do you want to be tagged in them? And then they can share it to their friends and family. And then that's a referral before you even have the job, because they can see what you can do. And it's a really great way to stay engaged with their whole audience as well. So how to do that, if you want to send, you can send pretty ones and noted ones, but what we have here are the drawings with all the notes. So how you're going to send that is you select the page you want to send, so kitchen renderings, then all you do is file, send as PDF. Why does this do it in Facebook? What did I do, Steph?
I don't know. So you can cancel that, because I know.
Was it going to pop up? I usually use online Outlook, so this won't happen to you if you're using the actual tool. Let that pop up. Okay, so we'll just give that a second.
Go back to your Outlook at the bottom. I think it did the little pop under.
Yep.
There we go.
There we go. Okay, so here it is. Everyone who saw that and had to watch me look at that, I'm sorry, that probably caused some pain. So those will pop up in your window. You can send it directly to them. It'll tell you what page it is in the name, so you know you're only sending kitchen renderings. You can, if you're not using Outlook, you can save it as a PDF and attach it too. This kind of just saves you a step.
And if you double click on it just to see what the client will receive,
yeah,
it will be a brand new PDF with exactly what you put in as notes.
there you go. So it'll have your title, your notes with all the drawings. You can send them a clean set too if you want. That's just completely up to your discretion there. To me, it's really not that much work to do both, so I would probably send both, and they'll be excited to share the drawings. So you can pop that in there. You can copy your Zoom link in there. If you put your Zoom link that Steph had in the previous tutorial, the plugin right into your Outlook, you can do that too, and then send it away. So that's it. Meeting's done. I'm not going to send that. We'll go back into OneNote. And then this is the next step for you on the design side. So all of these tags that you've added as to-do items. So again, how to do those, just double click Control-1. And here's all of your tag info here. So what I'm going to do is find tags. And then it'll give you a summary. So I'm going to go by tag name. So these are all my to-dos. Search for this section. So this piece here. Do I have that correct? No.
No, the section will look into the whole project. Lower Yee Heights house. That tab section is the equivalent of your tabs, and page group is the equivalent of your page.
Okay.
So if you wanted to summarize all the notes you put on, like your 30 minutes of notes in there, and you're like, hey, if only a software could take all these notes and put them together, that is it.
And that's the second time I forgot which one to pick, but the good news is I'm currently not doing this in front of the client. So we're gonna go this section, create summary page, and then it will give you every note you've made. So again, we did a really small portion of a normal presentation, but if you're doing a 40-page document and you have a to-do list note everywhere, this will summarize it for you. And the best part is when you are going over like, oh, wait, where did I have that OP41? You just click on the little OneNote symbol and it'll take you to right in your drawing where you had it. So here's and it'll call whatever you build your tab as. So I'm gonna go into my to-do list. Okay, yeah, I changed that in my drawings. I can check mark that off. And then it's just a little project management tool for how I work. This, if I was still designing and selling, this would be such a game changer for me. That's why I'm so excited about it. And then for actually building your tabs, what you do here.
So before you build the tab, just want to make sure, if I summarize everything that's on your notes that you put little to-dos for, like Kaylee was saying Control-1, which is the shortcut when she was talking to me as a client. Everything you pull up there with the tag summary, and then you can check them off or consult where they are in the actual text. Any questions on this before Kaylee shows you how to brand your tags on top of that? We're good? Excellent. Okay, go ahead, Kaylee.
Okay, perfect. So what I did was made them kind of Cabico colors. This is a little aggressive, but we really want to emphasize that you can make these look however you want. You don't have to use the standard one. So you're just going to go into this drop down way to the bottom, customized tags. You'll see how many there are in here in terms of discuss with this person, discuss with that person. If you want to get really crazy with this, you can make as many summaries as you want. Like, oh, how many things do I have to ask Phil about? He's my CSR, so I usually ask him the most questions. Client requests. For me, I find just one to-do list works best, but you can play around with this. So what you're going to do is right at the bottom, there's new tag, and mine's just called to-do list because that's what I want it to be called here. So put in whatever name you want. You can choose a blue, orange, or green checkbox mark for the actual to-do list function. These ones you can use as symbols. They just won't function in that to-do list to be checkable. So for me, I was like, orange is the closest. We'll leave that in there. I just liked how it looks. So choose whatever you want. Font color, mine is white with a red highlight. Working on the colored renderings, I found that to have some kind of highlight color works best, but you can play around with this. If you want something in your personal branding, you can adjust that there. So, I mean, you could use a white background with your kind of branding color as the text, or vice versa. Just adds a little bit of extra brand recognition there. So now that you've sent
Fine.
that for yourself, oh, go ahead.
Sorry, keep in mind by default, there's already a to-do. So if you don't want to go through or you're not comfortable yet going to create your own, you can use the ones that are there already. So you can, this afternoon, start using it without having to customize it. But if you want to do the extra mile, you just follow what Kaylee just showed you.
Mm-hmm. And then we did have one more thing. So we're currently working on it now. Anyone who's taken the SketchUp Advanced file, and you can make a video of your renderings. We just don't have one for this drawing yet, but definitely if you know how to do that, add a tab, put that rendering in there. If you have it connected to a YouTube channel or you have it, I don't know if this would store that file properly. I'd probably do a link, but that's probably a better person to ask.
I'll test it when I have it, but definitely a link works very, very well. Like you would link it to, you can upload it to YouTube as a private video if you do a rendering fly through. And by keeping it private, only the people you give the link to can have access to it. So then you can link it to your kitchen renderings. And when you send it out to them, they would have the link above the pictures or next to the pictures, so that they can actually see a nice fly through the kitchen.
Yeah.
Walk through.